David.
Hey, Mike. David Moore, Dallas Morning News.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Did you get out of bed or what?
A lot going on this time of year.
What's that?
A lot going on this time of year.
That's what I'm told.
Especially when you're off and studying. I know you're focused on the defense, but just Mike McDaniels, he's appears to be one of the more creative offensive guys. What do you see in his approach and what he's brought in?
Definitely. I mean, you got to have a lot of appreciation for what he's done so far, and I just think look at the whole team. I mean, obviously they're well coordinated, both the offense and defense. Excellent personnel, but yes, I think what he's doing schematically, scheme-wise, is a great fit for his players. And at the end of the day, I think that's what it's all about. And he does a tremendous job putting those guys in consistent position, to make big plays.
Back to start this century, you were one of the young, bright offensive minds who, when you.
We laugh at Kellen. Well, look at you guys are great too, man. Don't be acting like it happens. It happens.
I mean, you've been through this. You've seen the cycle of kind of younger guys, and everyone's intrigued by what they bring, and they tweak things. But having observed that cycle and been part of it, how much of it is always in place and it's just tweaking and modernizing and using personnel, and how much of it is kind of really different and advancing what offenses are doing in the league?
Well, I mean, I think like everything in this league, player, coach, support staff, everybody has a story. Everybody has a journey. And when you look at McDaniel's journey, I appreciate it. He came up through, the quality control, learned it, grassroots, worked his way up and so forth. And I think, not part of your journey is, the experiences that you have in the past. And I know personally, I'm just always so thankful for the staffs that I was on as a young coach. And, the Kansas City staff, I mean, the veteran Hall of Fame type coaches that were on that staff, and to be a young guy, first in the league. I mean, there's so much that's gone on during that period of my life that I still do today. And, and I think, and I don't know, Mike, but what I do, I think it's important when you do compete against each other to have a clear understanding of history, and my focus is obviously more on Vic and what he's done, not only in the past, but what he's doing with this defense and so forth, because I think that's all part of the preparation too. So, yes, I do have a high appreciation for what he's doing on offense.
Clarence Hill, 4-star television. Last thing I want to ask you about the playoffs. You said that's this week. You didn't clinch like you wanted to, but you clinched. Do you look at scenarios now, strength of victory? Do you even look at that stuff with all the 3 games left? Because there's so many things can happen with you and the Eagles and how you could win the division and stuff like that.
I mean, to be honest with you, Clarence, and I said that last week, is my anticipation was to be standing here at 11 wins. I do think 11 wins is a great time to take a step and look, and that's really, I think, what next week gives us. So we have to get this opportunity in Miami. Getting to 11 wins will give us a clearer picture of what needs to be done, because I mean, I understand the history of this and obviously the stories and the narratives and to come in here and answer questions. So I'm not trying to play ping pong here with you. Not that I ever do, but I just think it's important, just important to keep focused on getting to the 11th win, and then I think there'll be some clarity of what we need to do.
Mike Todd with ESPN. Tyron was added with a back issue. Is that something new, and what do you anticipate from him?
Yeah, it's something from the game. So he's working through it, and I think he'll do more today than he's scheduled to do more today than he did yesterday. So we definitely we still have a lot of time.
We often ask you about when you want to travel corners with receivers. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about it from the other perspective, when the other team wants to maybe travel a Jalen Ramsey with a CD? What opportunities that lays up either for CD, right, or moving around, or other guys? How you guys do with that?
Well, I think it's just like everything. I mean, it's just all part of your evaluation. I think Jalen Ramsey has that ability to play inside and outside. So that obviously that would not surprise us. You've seen it in the Jets game. So, and I think that's just all part of where you think the best matchup is, inside or outside too. So that's to me, those are all game planning questions that you answer. And obviously Jalen's been one of the top guys in this league for a long time, and I still recall him at the Rams, playing very well inside against us. So, that we would not be surprised if he plays inside or outside.
Babe Loffenberg, Cowboys Radio. Miami's a team. Obviously, they can throw it well, they can run it well, but ultimately your goal is to keep the other team out of the end zone. But is it demoralizing or more demoralizing for your football team when a team can do kind of what Buffalo did and just you're out there and you're watching pound, pound, pound? Does that become demoralizing to the whole group?
I think like anything, this game is so challenging week in and week out. We all have things that we know we do extremely well. The statistics at this point in the season can usually point to that, but I think it's important to stay in touch with the why. Why was the run defense not where we wanted it to be, last week? So, and that's really where our energy goes. I mean, the physical mental battle is something that we can validate, regulate, and put mathematics to. But the emotional realm is where the money's at. So I wouldn't, I mean, I think, would I say demoralizing? Absolutely not, because being demoralized is not part of a complimentary football team, and we've shown for the most part this year that when we can pick up for one another, and that's the vision. It's always been the vision the last couple of years, and defense was having a hard time, but offense we didn't help out either. And there's plenty of times where the defense has picked up for us too. So that's really the way our minds work and the way we look at these games, so forth. But yeah, I mean, I would not say anybody's sitting there going, looking at the scoreboard in the second quarter, thinking, oh my gosh, we're in trouble. That's not our team. I think the thing we talked about at halftime was let's pick up for one another and get going and play to our complementary formula, because that's what we do best.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. You guys have lost consecutive games just once in these 3 playoff seasons. What do you think makes a good bounce back team?
Oh, I just think it's the response. It starts with your preparation, and at the end of the day, is leadership comes to the top. And that's something that I think you engage in and just remind your team. And I think our younger players. I mean, look at TJ. Look at the way he played. Compared to week 2s and 3s. Where he would be in week 2 or 3. This is why we spend so much time with our younger players, because this is the time of year that young players are playing, and it's the most important time of year because we're all fighting for playoff seeds and so forth too. So I think the biggest thing is just to stay after it, stay consistent, and lean on your leadership.
Garrett.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. For you, how important is getting Dak in rhythm over the middle of the field on those seam balls to Ferguson and others, especially since the Dolphins have a couple inside linebacker injuries?
How about that? That was a loaded question, huh? That was good. Very good. All right. Rhythm over the middle of the field. Yeah, I mean, hell, if you're in rhythm over the middle of the field, you got big plays. I think we always talk about the fastest way to the end zone through the post. So, I mean, it's more of a mindset when you're building a offensive playbook. But I think the biggest thing here is is being in tune with how we think they're going to play us. Getting in and out of the personnel groups, play to the strengths that we feel attain to us. On the road. We're going to be in silent count. We're not going to be in silent count. So that's really what we're thinking. But yes, definitely. I mean, you always want to get your quarterback in rhythm. The how is always part of setting those first 15 plays how you think it's going to go, and when it goes well and you're in rhythm, obviously you're able to build off of that though. But this is going to be a 4-quarter challenge, no doubt about it. I think Vic does a really good job in game adjustment wise. So those are the things that I think about as far as keeping us in rhythm, in production, generating first downs.
Michael.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. Do you feel like your team is taking something positive out of each losses and learn for the better? And if so, for each one, what did the team take it from them?
Oh, I think so. I mean, hey, trust me, no one wants to lose. No one wants to, have a kind of performance that you have to answer the kind of questions we've had to answer. But I do think the negative experiences in this journey that's where the goal is. I mean, you talk about building and stacking success, but the negative experiences of going through that, it gives you some clarity of, hey, what wasn't right? Wasn't I right? What do I need to do better? And a lot of things, come down to the technique part of it, the fundamentals, and I think that's really, when you look at our evaluation process, I think we do a really thorough job of giving our players, the feedback, of their mental performance, their fundamental technique performance, and they have their own personal cut-ups that they've done every Monday, Tuesday. They can go back and look at it. So we're in tune with the other guys looking at, as far as the Miami people. So I think you gotta stay true to that, because the one thing that we talked about in the team was, our peaks have been unbelievable. I mean, this is some of the highest peaks that I've seen over a course of a season so far. But the valley, we had a couple of valleys that are way too low. So consistency, how do you get that? And I think just really being in tune with your experiences, and everybody just really, staying on top of the South Scott. Because at the end of the day, if it's going to be about you learning and growing, then you have to stay on top of what you're doing. We can't be worried about what the other guys are doing all the time. I think our house is very similar to most coaching households. I know as a head coach, I've always thought it was so important for the families to be together, on Christmas Day, and especially in the mornings, that wake-up moment that you have with your kids over the holidays. So, but yeah, I think it's, this is a challenge. It's probably the biggest challenge schedule-wise I think that I've ever been on, a 6-day game after, Christmas Eve day. So, yeah, so I'm trying to think of something really cool to say, but I don't have anything, sorry.
With the tackling that you guys talked about, that was the issue last week. How do you work on that when this late in the season, I don't know if you're being pads today, not being pads. Is it more just reminding guys with the words as opposed to the actions during the week?
I think it's a lot like, believing in the Christmas spirit. You just believe in what you put into this, and you believe in your foundations, and so you just keep believing. So.
All right.
All right, thank you.